Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here for War 3. This is against F and G, and surprise, surprise, we're bringing in Valkyrie and Cassie. I've also got some Odins for a teammate to do a fight later on, but yeah, Cassie again is going to be carrying the team. Got some more fun fights today, so we'll just get on with it. So we're going to be starting off in Section 1 with Path 5, taking that Mantis and the Ebony Maw. Then we're going to be taking Spidey Supreme and Wiccan in Path 9 of Section 2, taking that Jessica Jones, taking that Longshot on the old Node 23, and then we're going for a big old Rank 2 Sassy boss. So starting off, Mantis. I take this fight a lot over the last couple of seasons with Valkyrie. I used to take her on the Path 4, that node next to you, just that you can see there. And without Prowess power, this is a much simpler fight. All we're going to be doing is pushing her to L2. I am using an invuln because Mantis hits very hard and I do not want to get KO'd instantly by a bit of a massive heavy or special 2 or whatever. And it's a good safety net just in case she does throw an L1 off. That will occasionally happen. You just need to not panic and throw your L1 during the encroaching sleep. So we're going to start off by just hitting a block. I kind of just want to get my combo as high as possible without giving her very much power. And obviously the way to do that with Valkyrie is hitting to block. That's building our combo, not giving her much power. Once we get her to near a bar of power, I'm going to start comboing her, baiting out heavies, so that's my usual anti-baiting. I'll be doing 4 hits and then immediately holding block. So it's just coming up now. We're going to parry here and make sure it sticks because of the tranquilize. Then we're going to do 4 hits, block, let her throw a heavy, don't let her throw that special, and then after this we can go in, do our full combo, revert to go back down and get some bulwarks. She's at 2 bars of power, everything is safe. So I know in this fight that because we're not taking the protection down, I know it's going to be quite a long one. And even with our full ramp up, we wouldn't be able to take it down in 1L2. So I'm not overly stressed about getting the perfect ramp up, getting all my effects and whatever. So we just throw it there and we make sure she's blocking when we dash in there, because if, you know, she was going to throw an L1, that would be bad, especially if we dash face first into it. And we've got a little bit of duration on the Fury, could have gone in, hit her on block, but with the amount of health she's got left, I know that one more L2 is pretty much going to do it, so I didn't really want to force it. We're going to bait out this heavy, go in for a full combo, go into our striker. That really helps you with some flexibility of pushing Mantis to 2 bars power, or any champion, obviously. And then we're just going to make sure she's holding block, go in, do our combo, get the last pierce, and this special 2 finishes it off. Very smooth fight, worked exactly as how I intended going in. Sometimes it won't, sometimes you've got to adapt, but I'm glad it went to plan there. Next up, this is a bit of a weird one for Cassie. I've taken it a couple times last season as well. It's a ebb and flow knockdown node, and that means that we're not going to be really using very much things. I am going to be knocking him down a lot because we have easy access to them. Cassie has her miss mechanic, and on this node, Maw can be quite annoying just because, you know, with the unstoppable on heavy charge, it can really make knockdowns difficult. Not for Cassie, it's fantastic. She actually hits pretty decently hard on her basics as well, so it's not a slow fight. It's slower sometimes, I guess. But like I've had path fights that take this sort of length of time, and it's really not that big a deal. I'm going to use a special one if it feels right. It didn't here. Against Maw with Cassie, you really want to make sure that you are actually knocking him down with the heavy. Sometimes I've had Maw fights where I go for my heavy, chain it into an L1, and then he's focused and he starts building his persuasion on me, and that can end up bad. So I really make sure that, just like there, I didn't chain into this special one. I made sure I finished off the heavy and we went for it. We did get a special 2 off earlier and got really nice crit rate with it actually. I think we got 4 out of 5 crits, and that took him down a fair bit. It's just about staying to the process and making sure that you're controlling Maw's falter. And next up, we're moving into section 2. We've got a couple of hazard shift fights, and I've spoken about it in the past. Cassie is broken for hazard shifts right now. She has immediate access to multiple debuffs, which reduces the potency of DOTs. making her just an incredibly safe option. So we're starting off with this Spidey Supreme. We've taken Spidey in the past. This is only rank 4, and it is on a path. We've taken him on the boss island as a rank 5, so this should go pretty well. The power focus node helps us here. It means he's able to throw off more specials, take more damage. And again, we're just going to be taking them on the special ones on block. We could eat them to the face, and every time. And because of the amount of willpower healing we get, it's just ridiculously easy. I'm not going to be going super hard to get as many stings up as possible. I'm only really doing it when I feel like I need to, or if I want to get an opening, if Spidey's being a little bit annoying. But now I can see that we're only a couple of specials away. We're only 35 seconds into the fight, 40 seconds into the fight, and I just tap him into block, take him over that last bar of power, and the sting takes him down. Next up, for this Wiccan, I haven't taken Wiccan with Cassie in this tactic, and in my brain I know that any of his DOT that he applies to us will be countered by the tactic. But there's a little part of me going like, oh, but Wiccan's not a good idea with Cassie because he applies degens when he fails a shock immunity. And in the past, I know people have died to Wiccan with Cassie, without the tactic, obviously. But that's why at the start of this fight, I'm just playing it a little bit safe, just getting him to the corner, making sure I have my 5 debuffs up straight away. I just didn't want anything to go wrong, even though the logical part of me was saying there's nothing that can go wrong. So I was just playing it a little bit overly cautious. Again, with Wiccan, you want to be really knocking him down. That resets and moves his spells along. And you want to kind of avoid, in general, as a general rule, you want to avoid the neutralize and the incinerate ones. But I don't think they can really do anything with this tactic. It just shuts down anything that can really stop Wiccan as a defender. He doesn't regen the direct damage that comes from the stings. He can only regen energy damage to make a real difference. And another nice thing about the stings being direct damage is that a lot of people at this level run Inequity as the mastery, which reduces attack per debuff on you. Cassie for Hazard Chase has a lot of debuffs on her. But because of the way Cassie's stings work, they're based off her base damage, not her modified attack. So you could have 100 weaknesses on you, reducing your attack to 10%, and nothing would happen. The stings would still be the same exact value, which is a very cool piece of utility. Moving on, we've got another Jessica Jones and Valkyrie again. This one's a little different than last time. Last time was a hazard shift. This is the knockdown protection, right back at it, aggression prowess, etc. So it means we can just fight her like a normal Jess. Similar to the Mantis, we're not going to be knocking it down, so we know it's going to be a bit of a longer fight. It's not really a big issue. Again, we're not going to really focus on the first L2. I know it's not going to do a ton of damage. The protection does slow it down, but Valkyrie ramps up so much that it doesn't matter in the end. It's better to be safe. In a different fight where it wasn't right back at it, I probably would go for the knockdown. Like, say we were going for the node that Moore was on with the M-Flow knockdown. I'd probably go for a heavy, but that's only because the Intimidate will stick. And that means that we can guarantee that we're going to get our special 2 off. The heavy removing all of your buffs means that if the AI then decides to be really annoying, it can remove all of your ramp up without any reward. So that's kind of my general rule for it. But we're in a good position here. We are almost fully ramped now. I'm saving my striker, and you'll see why in a sec, but it's a really nice way to use it. So we go for the L2 after a little pause, and then we throw a light attack, hope that she stays holding block, going for a full combo. Then we throw our striker into block, come out of the striker, and the AI always, in my experience, carries on holding block, so we get another combo in afterwards. And you just saw how much health that took away. With the first special 2 cycle, we took about 10% health off. That's partly due to the fact that we didn't really ramp up very much, and also didn't get very many combos into block, but that second special 2 took off 50%. And again, ramp up, got the combos into block, that's the difference. But that's what I mean when I go into these fights thinking, okay, I'm not really going to do much with the first special 2 here. the focus is to set ourselves up for a bigger Special 2 next. So that's kind of how I approach those fights with Valkyrie. Now we have a Longshot on the old node 23. This is the Scared Stiff and Rooted node. Definitely a fairly straightforward fight. I don't think there's too much that can really go wrong here, unless somehow you end up having an L2 when you don't have any debuffs on, because the tactic will also reduce the annoyingness of Longshot's Special 2. I guess the one thing to make sure of is charging your heavy when Longshot doesn't have a bar of power. Remember that Longshot Special 1 can't miss, and Power Focus 1 means that it can be a little more difficult to find the opportunity to charge your heavy, but overall, really not that big a deal. If the root triggers, don't panic. Hopefully you've got a special. If not, just deal with it. You'll probably have a taunt on. Make sure you end your combos with lights. That'll keep the poisons up, which keeps the rest of your debuffs up, and then layer on those special ones. Like I said, it's not that complicated. It's quite nice to be able to dash in like that on Longshot Special 1. If you have the timing down, it can save you from Bubble Shield, and it means that the tempo of the fight can really pick up without having to, find an opening after the Special 1. And lastly, today we're going to be taking this Sassy boss. So this is a fun one. I've taken this a lot in the past. Not yet with Sugar Pill, but yeah, this is a good one. I do think that probably alongside Void, Cassie is probably the best option for this. I think they're both pretty strong in their own right. I just think Cassie has a lot more control over the fight. Void's probably a bit faster if you can set him up right, but Cassie is probably the second fastest option. So we are going to start off by going for a heavy, and here he kind of dashes back a little earlier than I would have imagined, and it means when he dashes back in, we get saved by a lucky evade. And keep an eye out, that's going to happen a few more times in this fight. The evade is actually a really nice safety net, and you'll obviously see when it happens. But yeah, normal Cassie fight. We're going to be layering up our stings when we can, not going for heavies when our fuel is too low. We don't want to get caught out. Trying to make sure that we do get the heavy charge when Sassy is likely to dash into us, and that is a problem with playing Cassie. If you just charge heavy whenever and wherever, it does take some practice to kind of know when the right opportunity is, and I get it wrong. I think I get it wrong in this fight at times, and Sassy either plays into me. I think he does in this fight, but in other fights I've had it where I've had to just let go of the heavy. Your heavy does take you a little bit further forward, so most of the time it's not bad, but sometimes you might eat combos because of that. And that's why it's nice to have the taunt up, because we can eat combos, and we will eat combos in this fight, and we can end up with very nice health remainings. So that was a bad call. I shouldn't have charged heavy right there, but Sassy plays into us and recovers, and the fight continues. We do have Mr. Fantastic pre-fights here, which is very nice. If you are planning on taking this fight, make sure to either assign or ask for the suppression to not be applied. You don't want Sassy gaining less power, because that means less specials that he throws, less stings, and yeah, you kind of just want the debuff one. It's just one extra debuff, doesn't really do anything with this global, but the Petrify is the main one. You can see we're reversing some of his power. At the moment, as we're eating this combo, I'm kind of thinking that it's probably a good opportunity to try and weave in a special 2. So his Wrath triggers just as we get to our L2. The taunt's up, so we have guaranteed crits, we get hit again, and the evade saves us again. This Rupture's now on us, and being a little bit cheeky, after this, I just kind of go back in, and instead of baiting out this last special, I go for a Striker. I just want to get a little bit of willpower healing up before the end. The fight's well under control, and we just combo him, and the Striker finishes him off. So yeah, very, very safe fight. And this war was actually a really big result for us. We started off with 3 deaths in the first 30 fights, and that was not great. It was a couple of rough ones, but not as good as we were hoping. And we really got our act together, and we finished the next 120 fights without a single death, ending on 3 kills, and we won 3-13 in the end. So really, really nice result to be able to clean up from a dodgy start, and that puts us at 3-0 for the season. So really, really good start. I'm sure we'll be facing some much tougher competition with the top of the leaderboard coming up in the next few wars. We're likely to be matching GT40, Noon, Salty, those sorts of guys. So we're prepared for that. And I will also say that on a personal note, I'm really, really happy with my own war today. If I'm allowed to be a little bit self-indulgent, I had an average of 98.9% health remaining after each of these fights, and Cassie specifically, I had 99.6%, which is, I mean, it just goes to show that Cassie is an unreal attacker, and I was really happy to have a clean war myself. But in any case, thanks very much for watching. Keep an eye out for the next one, and I'll catch you then. Cheers.